It's not very often that I purchase a game and return it. However, I purchased ARMS shortly after its launch in June of 2017 with every intention to play it. Less than a week later, I returned it, unopened of course. I returned it not due to any fault of the game, but with life and all things that come with it, I was short on cash and I figured I'd eventually pick it up later for a lower price if I truly wanted to play it. Well, a few months ago, which would be more than 4 years later, I decided to pick it up and review it for the channel. I ended up picking up the game used from my local GameStop for around $28 USD. Now that I've gotten a chance to play ARMS, I may have made the right decision in waiting to pick it up. With that said, it's time to answer the question. What's it worth? Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of What's It Worth, where I review a game, show some gameplay, and give you my thoughts on what a game is worth. Please note, I understand a game is worth what someone is willing to pay for it. Obviously, anyone is able to have their own opinion on what they like and dislike and have the freedom to buy and pay whatever they feel is reasonable. This is just my opinion based on the content within a game, the age of a game, how long it is, replayability, if there is a multiplayer available, and how good that multiplayer is. I have spent many years buying and playing games and have a general idea of what I feel I should be paying. This is simply to give you an idea or baseline of what a game is worth. And if money is no object, this is still a general review, so there is still something here for you. So let's get started. One of the things I was most interested in trying with ARMS was the motion controls. I was determined to play the game with these motion controls, even though I know that I'm awful with those kind of controls. Not that I'm great with a controller either, but I kind of felt like that's how the game was intended to be played. I didn't stick with the motion controls throughout my whole time playing ARMS. I did, however, give it a fair try, and I had some fun with it. ARMS doesn't exactly have a story. The campaign, which consists of the Grand Prix, is 10 rounds to become champion. There isn't much more than that. Depending on what difficulty I played, the Grand Prix could take me anywhere from 20 minutes to around an hour and a half, and that's just depending on how many times I got KO'd. ARMS looks great in both docked and undocked, and it runs great too. I didn't notice any slowdowns or stuttering of any kind. The gameplay is certainly the strong point of ARMS. With the motion controls being smooth and snappy, anyone who wants to play this way will definitely be able to without issue, same as those who tend to gravitate towards a controller like me. I will say that ARMS is no slouch when it comes to difficulty. ARMS has 7 difficulty levels. With each level, it ramps up a pretty significant amount. ARMS is one of the few games that I spent a fair amount of time in the tutorials to better learn the gameplay mechanics. I was able to complete the Grand Prix on level 4 difficulty, and I honestly was pretty happy with that, even though I was KO'd quite a few times. ARMS has all 15 fighters unlocked from the start. The game originally released with 10 fighters, and then Nintendo added 5 new fighters for free, which I have to give Nintendo props there because most fighting games have some sort of paid DLC. Each fighter has their own properties, attributes, and power attacks. There are also a ton of different arms that can be unlocked for each fighter. These arms have different strikes and status effects that can be charged 3 different ways depending on the character, by either dashing, blocking, or jumping. These different options allows players to determine how they want to play, as well as gaining a sense of strategy for different fights. I personally found the Boomerang arm and Springtron to be my favorite combination. ARMS also has several game modes to play. First being Grand Prix, which I talked about earlier. Then there is Versus, which contains an arm spin on volleyball and basketball, Skill Shot, which is a target breaking minigame, Headlock Scramble, which players compete with the other players or the AI to get headlock, which attaches to your head and gives your character a power-up by adding 2 extra arms, like Dr. Octavius from Spider-Man, as you battle for a KO. There is 1 vs 100, which you fight off waves of enemies until you are defeated or you defeat the 100 enemies. And lastly, there's the Get Arms minigame, where you use your in-game currency you get from just playing the game for a timed mode to try and unlock new arms for your characters. ARMS does have some replayability value when it comes to the different difficulty settings, as well as tons of unlockables. There are a bunch of ARMS to unlock for all 15 characters, some badges, and a gallery that uses the in-game currency. ARMS certainly has many ways to play a multiplayer experience. The game supports 4 players to play against each other on one Switch. There is the ability to play local wireless play, which allows 4 players to play head-to-head or to play 8 players at a party match. There is 2 online multiplayer options, one being party match, which is the more casual experience, and then there's ranked mode where you can battle to become ranked within the leaderboards. I had some fun with the party mode. I had no issues finding a match, and there was plenty of people playing. However, ranked mode, I searched several times and was not able to match. It may be due to my rank only being rank 1, but I was not able to match in a ranked match after multiple tries on different days. Some frequently asked questions. Even though I just answered it, I'll answer it again. Is the multiplayer dead? Party mode had plenty of players. Ranked mode I was not able to matchmake. How much space did the game take up? I have the physical copy of the game on my Switch, and that takes up 1 GB of space. According to Nintendo.com, for the downloaded game file, it's 3.2 GB. Do you need Nintendo Online to play it online? Yes. Can you play it offline? Yes, everything works offline except, of course, online multiplayer. So what's it worth? ARMS is definitely an interesting fighting game. It released over 4 years ago and still has active players in the party match mode. Unfortunately, I was not able to find a match in ranked mode, so there may not be too many players trying to match there. The game does have some replayability value and unlockables, but I'm not sure how many players are actually going to grind out all of the unlockables, so your mileage may vary. There isn't much of a story with the Grand Prix, and ARMS does have several game modes, but I wouldn't say it's enough to keep most players interested for more than a few hours. With that said, ARMS is worth about $15. I do want to say that I appreciate Nintendo giving free DLC with ARMS, but I can't help but wonder if they didn't do this to justify the price of the game, being that on the eShop, this game is currently listed at the time of this video for $59.99 USD. As always, I hope this review helped, and make sure you subscribe for more upcoming What's It Worth reviews.